It is 100 days until a very important day. If you listen to this show, you probably agree. It is 100 days until the NFL opener. Until the NFL's opening game that Thursday night, September 5th. Let me make sure I get the teams right. Ravens-Chiefs. 100 days. You can start the countdown.
So we're 103 till the Panthers kick it off? Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yep, exactly.
103.
103. We never get to actually do the countdown to the Panthers. Remember, we counted down to the draft, and they didn't have a first-round pick, so we had to keep saying, well, it's 99 days till the draft. Well, actually, 100 to the Panthers. And then they did.
Maybe they'll play on Thursday. Maybe we'll do the same thing. Maybe they'll trade up to Thursday. Like, hey, we'll sacrifice. We'll play another Thursday game this season.
We'll go to Germany again.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're going to sacrifice our bye week to move up.
Maybe.
Could you do that? Like trade your bye week?
Trade your bye week for a couple extra long weeks? Because obviously, if you play the first Thursday, that is kind of extra time.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make you the first game a short week because there's no game before it, and then you get extra days after the fact. So hey, maybe there's also a game that Friday between the Packers and Eagles. That one is somewhere else also. I think it's in like Brazil.
Yeah, that's a Brazil game.
Which just seems unnecessary.
Odd.
Either way, with 100 days until the NFL opener, and second reference, right? Politicians always talk about the first 100 days in office, right? You can get a lot done in the first 100 days. Then you start thinking about re-election and all those things. 100 days until the NFL opener. What does the Panthers to-do list still look like? Because let's be real. At the beginning of the offseason, the to-do list, multiple pages, right? You gotta keep scrolling if you keep it on your notes app.
Darn notebook.
Scroll. Your phone started popping up telling you don't have any iPhone storage because your to-do list was taking up too much space. What's still left? Because they've done a lot, right? They've checked a lot off. They've answered a lot of questions. Now I think it's actually kind of, in a lot of ways, the second step off of things they've already done, right? Because a lot of times doing something creates other to-do lists, right? For example, I was power washing my backyard the other day. That is an all-time, adds more things to your to-do list chore. Because you know what looks really bad next to something that was just power washed freshly? Something that hasn't been power washed in a long time. So you power wash the stairs and your porch, then all of a sudden you got these nice, crisp, clean, new looking porch stairs going down to a driveway that's covered in dirt and mold or whatever else is down there. You're like, all right, well now I got to do the driveway. Then you do the driveway all the way down to the sidewalk. Sidewalk doesn't look nice. All right, well I got to do the sidewalk. Then you look at the mailbox. That doesn't look good because it's next to the sidewalk now. A lot of that's happened with the Panthers. For example, we knew they needed to get a huge influx in wide receiver talent. So they did that, right? They went and traded for Deontay Johnson. They went and drafted Xavier Legette in the first round. They still have Adam Thielen. They still have Mingo. They still have a host of other guys. Amir Smith-Marset. They still have Terrace Marshall Jr. So what's the chore that was added to the chore, right? Now they need Xavier Legette to get more refined. Right, because if you go back and watch his highlights from South Carolina, the first thing you notice is that's a big, strong dude that can run.
Just raw physical abilities.
The second thing you notice is he's not running the most complicated patterns. It's a lot of drags. It's a lot of slow crossers. It's a lot of goes. It's not a lot of nuanced routes. So you need to get him in an NFL route tree because he is a raw talent. And based on how he's used at South Carolina, you're going to have to get him caught up on some things quickly. And because you needed this influx of wide receiver talent, he's going to be depended upon early in his NFL career. Right? This isn't a guy who you draft and go, oh, he's a project, hopefully by year 3. It's like, oh, he's a project, hopefully by week 3. It's got to be that kind of aggressively accelerated. Deontay Johnson, what's his role going to be? Right? A lot of what he and Adam Thielen do, while different levels, I think Deontay Johnson at this point in his career is the better wide receiver, but they have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to, kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of sort out their territory a bit. They have to kind of s On this play, I get the whip over the middle. Next time you'll get the whip. Like, they've got to get that kind of deal done. Whip being a route, by the way.
Yeah.
They need to sort out the running back room in the next 100 days. Who is legitimately going to get carries on this roster? Chuba Hubbard, Jonathan Brooks, Miles Sanders, Rashad Penny, Raheem Blackshear, Mike Boone, Jaden Sheridan. They've got a lot of running backs on the roster right now.
Tariq Cohen. Oh, they did?
Yeah.
I missed that.
I could have been more subtle than
Yeah.
they cut Tariq Cohen.
Okay, makes sense.
Hope he catches on somewhere. Great story.
For sure. I
Great
missed that.
story. Chuba Hubbard, Jonathan Brooks, Miles Sanders, Rashad Penny, Raheem Blackshear, Mike Boone, Jaden Sheridan, still on the roster. And part of it is like 3 of you are going to be realistically depended upon at all. 2 of you, bulk of the carries. Who then becomes the workhorse if that's what you're going with? And how does Jonathan Brooks' injury recovery play into all of this? All of that decided in the next 100 days. Then, and this is probably the only, like, the additions, I'm just going to throw this out there. The Panthers don't turn down talent. They shouldn't. They don't have enough to do it. So part of me says, Dan Morgan, keep your eyes peeled for everything, right? Just any good player that becomes available, keep your eyes peeled. But I would focus that in a little bit more on edge rushers. If you can find a guy that can give you 15 great reps, great snaps a game on the edge, I think you bring him in. You can always use more, right? It's one of those positions, especially if you're light at that position like the Panthers. If Jadeveon Clowney or DJ Wanham miss time with an injury, what in the heck are the Panthers going to do? They would almost then have to turn a premier look-at-me role to DJ Johnson, who could barely get on the field his rookie year for a team that, again, didn't have world beaters up and down the roster. And then lastly, on my list, and again, we could go down to the minutia and come up with a billion things for the Panthers to do in the next 100 days. I want them to continue to hype up Bryce Young. I want them to continue to right, it's one of those deals where publicly praise, hype. Privately, be very tough on him. Right? It is praise in public. Oh, he's great with the playbook. Oh, he's accurate. Those are the 2 we've heard. I want to hear about his strong arm next. He can make all the throws. He's lighting it up. He's throwing lasers. I want to hear about his mobility. I want to hear about his leadership. I want to hear about all of that. And then privately, hey, man, at practice yesterday, here's what we need to work on. Here's what you didn't do well. Here's what you need to get on the same page with your receivers about. Why in the heck did you miss this? How did you hold this? All of those things because you need to get him ready to play in your offense. But publicly, the guy needs confidence. That's what you're worried about. When highly drafted guys go into cluster bleeps of situations, right? When they go into really bad situations, you're not worried that, they're not going to physically bounce back, right? 21, 22 years old, you can take a couple hits. You're not worried that his arm's going to stop working. You're not worried that his 40 time is going to go from, he's like a 4.5 guy coming out of college, but now he's 5'3" going into his second year after a tough rookie season. It doesn't deteriorate like that. But confidence kind of does. Start questioning yourself, to use the legendary Sam Darnold term, start seeing ghosts. You can go from like a 4.3 level confidence, right? Like the fastest of the fastest, the best of the best confidence to like 5.3. You can whatever that equivalent of in confidence, it can happen. So continue to hype that guy after a really rough rookie year. We'll decide if we're going to believe you or not, but do the best you can to convince us.